Kongresi'nin 10. oturumunu beraber.
Esteemed participants, I would like to welcome you. This is the 10th session of Turkish Wind Energy Congress. I would like to introduce myself briefly. My name is Murat Onuk. I am electrical engineer and I am a doctorate in operation in business management. I have worked in Siemens for 10 years and I worked in Ağolu energy group. I have completed 2 energy projects. Our subject in this session is construction process and operation of wind plants in Turkey. As you all know, in these sessions we have talked about local content and the current status of Turkish wind energy, and now how we are going to make this on the area, how we will transport these equipments to the area, how we will install them and make the mountain. As you all know, wind plants can be seen very modular and simple systems. However, because of their locations and because of their conditions, weather conditions, and because of the certain problems on the operation phase, they should work continuously. Because of its control of the machine, they're actually very complicated. When you look from the other side, it may seem that they are like toys, but you have to have cumulative operational information. Today we do have many experienced specialists coming from different companies, lifting companies or transportation companies. We do have 90 minutes, so everyone has 15 minutes. Then we will have 15 minutes for Q&A session. Without creating any delays, we will complete our session. First speaker will be Mr. Taner Derin. He is the service director of Nordex Turkey. Mr. Taner was born in Balıkesir and he was graduated from Hacettepe University, Department of Electrical and Electronical Engineering in 2005, and he completed his master degree in Yıldız Technical University in the Department of Business Administration. He has worked in maintenance, technical management, and procurement and operational completion. He has had many work tasks in these areas, and last but not least, he is a member of the board in Çayeli Bakır. Since January 2011, he has been working in Nordex Turkey as Turkey Service Director. He is married with 2 children. Yes, the floor is yours, Mr. Taner.
Teşekkürler Murat Bey. Hoş geldiniz.
Thank you. Welcome again. Thank you so much for your participation. I would like to welcome everyone. Before starting to my presentation, I would like to thank to the organizers for having this organization. As briefly, I would like to mention what we are doing in Turkey, turnkey projects, and then what do we offer in terms of service. I will talk these subjects briefly. With regards to technical issues of wind turbines, before touching upon this, I will talk about customer-focused organization and turnkey projects, how we are creating these projects. I will tell you about this. In Nordex customer organization, we can see customer-focused approach, and because of this focus, there is only one board of management, and all the customer relations are under this organization. We think in a global perspective, we act local perspective. We prefer to think globally but act locally. In our organization, you can see sales and service and product development. There are certain units, technical support units, behind these steps. Our aim is to give the maximum, optimum solution to the customer on time. For us, the demands of the customer are really important, and we evaluate the demands of the customers very fast. Nordex Turkey commissioned its first turnkey projects in Akres with Best Energy Group. Then we realized the Metro Stepe project of Can Energy. As Nordex, we do have 2 areas and 34 turbines totally. These turnkey projects done by Nordex, there are certain criteria that we take very seriously into consideration. All the construction jobs are done by ourselves. Of course, we do have certain contractors, roads, turbine foundations, crane pads, buildings. With regards to high altitudes or lower altitudes and housings, switchgear rooms, and transformers, and location, placing of the transformers, and commissioning of them. Of course, the turbine placement, and then certain supervisory control and other jobs are done by our company. Besides, while we do these construction works, there are different demands of the customers, and we have to take their demands into consideration as well. There are different turnkey projects in different places in the world of Nordex. We have 2 projects in Turkey, so we have experience and accumulative information of these 2 projects in Turkey, but our aim is to give the maximum and optimum service to our customer. We do have 2 other notes while we are doing this. Some places here in this list you can see customers may want to realize some things by themselves and they want us to do other things. We can release all these services with our contracting companies. In this turnkey projects, I would like to give certain information about them. I'm sure our other speakers will be talking about the detailed manner because they are very well informed about these issues. They know how to do this. They do this on the area by themselves because it is their own job. But when the company is the main contractor, there are certain criteria that they should be very careful about. The most important thing is that planning. Without a good planning, unfortunately, you can confront with many serious challenges. So in a good planning, what are the things? Risk assessment is important, baseline monitoring is important, and some studies about earth or area is important. There are certain environmental concerns. Unfortunately, in Turkey, they are disregarded highly, but you have to take them into consideration again. Waste arising and management is important because there is a big amount of waste. While you are releasing your project, you have to take them very seriously, and there are certain legal issues. Legal issues are big challenges, not only for contractors, but also the consumers, customers should know these legal issues very well. They have to follow and monitor this legal aspect. And in addition to this, you are placing turbines or plants in the middle of the nature. For that reason, this facility should be in line with the nature itself. In Turkey, unfortunately, this subject is disregarded highly. However, as our company and other companies, the responsible companies, are giving their efforts to make nature-friendly, environment-friendly projects. After a good planning or micro-siting planning, before going to the construction phase, before starting construction, you have to consider certain issues. As I have mentioned before, a good planning is an inevitable part of our business. You have to make a good planning. However, as main contractor, we work with our customers and subcontractors, and we also work with local authorities. Then we need to produce certain results, and there are certain things that we need to consider. Site investigations or site visits should be very frequent. not micrositing, but also the cable locations or roads or other infrastructure phases are important. Legal issues are important. You have to follow the legislation. Grid connection considerations important. Fluctuations or the capacity of the cables, the grid is important. You have to consider them. Environmental limitations are important. Ground risk is important. The earth study is important. You have to have a concrete, 100% concrete ground examples, because these turbines must be operable for 20 years. They are kept within the nature. They work within the nature. For that reason, one of the most important issues is that the ground management or ground assessment should be done very healthy. Also, the infrastructure design should be thought holistically. The equipment that you are going to place into the building should be selected very well. After that, you have to design your current buildings. Another issue is, maybe other specialists will talk about, the seasonal considerations are really important. Maybe these seasonal conditions will not burden you a lot in Aegean region, where the wind is very strong, but in Anatolia, in Middle Anatolia or East Anatolia, there are certain projects, and these projects are subjected to seasonal limitations or restrictions. Last year we had a very rough winter, and it affected us, it affected customers, it affected the companies who were working in those areas. It was really difficulty in working there. This turnkey projects, this delivery of this project was really hard, but we managed to do so. But one of the most important reasons that we managed to deliver our project was that we made our planning very well. As I said before, the ground assessment is important, the good construction practice important. Another important issue is the transportation. You have to transport equipment to the area. How will you transport it? You will get use of the current roads. You have to analyze the roads, whether they are appropriate or not. You have to make this analysis before starting the project. These are inevitable parts of starting a project. Last but not least, the services, public roads or existing services and other constraints, they have to be analyzed. Without this analysis, during the project phases, you may confront with very serious problems. Yes, we have settled the turbines. I'm not going to talk about how we are settling the turbines, because there are many experienced people who are going to talk about these issues. After you have settled the turbine, the most important thing is that you have to finish the project phase, and you have to produce or generate energy from these turbines, because after you have settled the turbines are ready to produce or generate energy. The customers or your consumers immediately want to get the energy during the construction or during the commissioning phase. For always, you may see some problems in the equipment or in the functioning. You may see some problems. As Nordex, we work with technicians. We work with technicians on the area. They can see the conditions of the area. They can see the customers. They work with the customers and the technicians. And as possible as they can do, the technicians settle and go to the area very early, so they can minimize the risks, and it can create a big advantage for us. After you settle the turbines and start to produce energy out of these turbines, there are certain problems. As I said before, these turbines will stay in the nature for 20 years. It will generate energy out of the wind. As you all know, wind has no certain direction. There are certain weather conditions such as lightning, thunder, or voice, and etc. For that reason, a good service is very important, especially the investor. When investor makes the investment, not in the peak times or low times. On a regular basis, the investor makes the investment in order to get regular return from his investment. Yes, wind is a risky thing. Wind has no direction, but if you can manage to prevent some risks resulted from the wind, both you may be happy and your customer investor will be happy. As Nordex, we are providing certain service products. However, as in the construction phase or commissioning phase, as I said before, we are very experienced and old. We are open to any suggestion. Customers may work with technicians, or customers can see the interior parts of the turbines. But the most important thing is that we listen to the recommendations of the customers. Availability is most important thing, as I said before. However, you want to keep these customer technicians away from the area, you have to work with your own technicians, and turbine problems will increase. Our availability is very high on yearly basis, and our customers are very pleased about this. In certain areas, this availability ratio can rise up to 99.7%, not on the basis of turbines, but on the basis of area. Another issue is the performance management. When you settle performance management, you need certain support for this. We know that this is not a rocket science, but turbines include certain technology inside themselves, and these equipments will stay in the nature for 20 years, and they are going to be exposed to outside effects, so there could be certain problems. There are, as you all know, producers who produce turbine parts, and you have to get support from company. A foreign company or local company can be your choice. As you can see here in this organization, we have a 4-tier of structure. We do have a remote monitoring system. For instance, our customers can talk with German technicians from Germany. Our technicians are available on the area, and our technicians can intervene in any convenience in the area. And besides this, we do have certain support units in Germany, first grade, second grade, or as you can see, first level, second level, third level. We do have certain teams. Availability is high, as I said before, and investors can have the possibility to get their money as possible as they can do. And I have briefly mentioned our projects in Turkey. Thank you so much. If you have questions, I will accept them in the Q&A session.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taner, and thank you for your sensitivity about the timing, so that we have. Are there any investors in the among us? Investors for wind plants? Okay, so unfortunately there are no investors among the because I have worked. Let me represent investors because I built two. Now, if you want, let us continue with Siemens. Siemens, Mr. Devrim Topçu is from Siemens. He is the manager in charge of sales and marketing in renewable energy. He's a graduate of Middle East Technical University, and he's a mechanical engineer, and he also has an MBA. And he worked with Alstom Power and Delmak Deliver, and since the year 2004 he's working with Siemens. First he was the energy service manager, and then he took various posts at the renewable energy department, and right now he is the manager of that department. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Murat. I will be talking about Siemens activities and solutions in the field of renewables in wind power. Siemens is relatively new in Turkey in renewable energy, and when we in the year 2004 it acquired a company and entered the company. It's Bonus Energy. It's a Danish company, and it's a well-established company, and we have transferred their know-how to make up for the disadvantages brought about by us entering late in the market. As Siemens Turkey, in the year 2009, we signed the Mahmut Bey project, and that was a first for us. It was the first wind plant in the market, consisting of 13 turbines. In the year 2010, the service group there was a resolution from the headquarters that we would service the turbines. So we were under an umbrella structure, but then we assumed the service activities in the year 2010, and after that time, other plants also started to grow. In the year 2010, we were awarded our second project, again consisting of 13 turbines, and that was a very important project because there was no gearbox structure. It was a direct drive system, and right after that, we were awarded the Dinar project with the solar system, and also we completed yet another project. So in total we have contracted a capacity of 200 megawatts. Right now there are two plants in operation, a total of 70 megawatts. In the general sense, this is our structure in Turkey, and this represents a very fast growth, and in order to be able to make it sustainable, you have to have a good service network. And since the year 2009 we're working on this, and actually in the global sense, I want to talk about the global structure as well. When you look at Siemens structure, there are 6 different sections, and these include fossil power generation, oil and gas, wind power, solar and hydro, energy services, and power transmission. I would like to attract your attention to the fact that we are a separate department as energy services, but we extend our services to other departments, for instance, fossil power generation and other departments. And since the year 2010, the renewable energy services were also included in the duties of our department. Let us look at the global HQ functions. Wind power is under service renewables, and in this structure, Turkey is in the Europe, Middle East, and Africa region, EMEA region, and the Near East African cluster. You can see the locations here. The regional structure management is in Bremen in Germany, and the headquarters is located in Denmark. Until the present, we have had an established power of 16 gigawatts, and you can see the breakdown of this power on the map. And about 11 out of the 14 gigawatts are extended through service deals. And we have a global employee headcount of 2,500 people. In the beginning, I mentioned that although we entered the Turkish market late, the Bonus Energy has a know-how of 30 years, and like I have mentioned, they have an installed power of services of 16,000 megawatts, and we offer activities in 30 countries, and 4,500 turbines have remote monitoring, and they are equipped with diagnostic systems. There were these processes that Mr. Murat mentioned in the beginning. After the challenging processes, we start the service process when the turbines start generation, and it is a long-term service relationship. As Siemens, we are included in the beginning of this process. We are included as the wind group, not even if it's not for services, and in the maintenance and repair services, and in the installation we also have a presence. And what do we do in the service area? We have regular service and maintenance, we have troubleshooting and repair, modernizations and upgrades, and value-added services. When you look at this project cycle, there is a 3-year life cycle, or it can go all the way up to 5 years. There's a warranty period, and during the warranty period, again, the services are given by us, and during the post-warranty period, again, we offer services as well. As Siemens, when we look at the solutions, there are different packages, and the last two, when you look at the last two packages, they are offshore plants, that are plants on the sea. Right now we are offering these two packages, the ones I'm marking with the laser pointer, and when in the 200A package is kind of limited. When I say limited, these include regular maintenance on a yearly basis, and we are giving availability guarantee, and remote monitoring systems are also included. And when you extend the scope a little, which can change based on the preference of investors, because some of the investors want the investors to assume the risk, and there are long-term, 10 years or 20 years maintenance, repair, and failure halts, and so this structure, this package contains all those activities. And in general, the turbine suppliers also give mechanical warranties, for instance, for 2 years. And in this package, we can offer it throughout the entire period. If it's 10 years, we offer 10 years. If it's 20 years, we offer it for 20 years, free of charge. We offer free of charge replacement. And then there is the 100B package. When the service maintenance agreement is over, that is when the two packages are complete, and when you want to extend it, depending on your requirement, there is you can choose the options. You can choose the options listed below, and you can make it into a package, and that is an option. Like I have mentioned here, the warranty periods are given, and they can go all the way to 20 years, and the design life is 20 years, and we as Siemens can offer this 20-year package, and there are various options starting from 5 years, and this depends on the demand or on the plans of the investor. Of course, after we sign the service agreements, we have different practices which we call the value-added systems which increase generation or which can increase the availability percentages, which we can offer as solutions, increasing the power curve, and then there is power enhancement, availability increase, lifetime extension, better reliability, etc. are offered additionally. Of course, during the service period or the operation period, one of the most important factors is the turbines being able to remain in operation and for a long time. For instance, for 10 years or 20 years, what is expected is that the turbines continue generation and operation as planned earlier. And we as generation companies, we employ different techniques to ensure that. And of course, the objective is the same, like Mr. Taner Derin from Nordex explained, but we do it in different ways. For instance, one of them is the remote monitoring. We do use these systems, and particularly in terms of critical equipment, could be gearbox, could be generators or main shaft or main bearings. These are remotely monitored on a 24-hour basis, and in case of a failure, we have the option of intervening fast. And this doesn't mean this can be a proactive approach to prevent the failure from taking place, or if there's a replacement in a gearbox for a gearbox, and the necessary cranes, spare parts, materials can be arranged and planned earlier, because that takes a significant amount of time. And these remote monitoring systems can deal with up to 80% of the alarm codes, and on average, the average period is for intervention is 10 minutes. Like I have already mentioned, this is applicable for strategic components, and additionally, there are remote monitoring systems for the overall system, all the alarms of the turbine and the behavior in operation. We do that through SCADA. But other than that, there is a separate system that monitors the critical components, which is not optional, and it's a standard setup. If we go into the detail, in certain areas, which are important areas, like the generator, main shaft, gearbox, with the help of sensors, this data is transferred to the monitoring center to take the necessary action. And there is also the training issue, which is of importance in the case of turbines, like Mr. Taner Derin from Nordex mentioned. Provided that we offer in-house training for our employees, we train the employees of our customers. You can see on the map where we have our 4 training facilities. And we also offer grading systems. And there are 4 levels, and when you reach level 7, that's for Siemens personnel, they can be called supervisors, or they are capable of diagnosing failure diagnostics. You can see some photographs from the training centers. There's rescue training. It can be these can be specific training courses, or they are designed based on demand. They are tailor-made. For instance, can be SCADA training or climbing training, or in other specific topics, and the customer has a choice. They can choose, and we can give services upon demand. We place great importance in worker safe and workers' safety and health. And there is a great investment in-house because the conditions on site are very challenging. The working conditions are risky at best, and therefore work safety and workers' health is very important, and both for personal safety equipment and the equipment on site. We provide near-miss reports and accident reports, and they can be escalated to the highest levels within the organization. What plans do we have for the future? There are different technological solutions. For instance, one is a pilot practice in the US. It's an iPad pilot to offer the services through iPad, because when we are offering the services, the service manuals, the checklists, they have to be updated, they have to be kept current, and this is how we can manage it through iPads. There are also other upgrades and modernizations. We install power curve upgrades with the help of certain equipment, and this is the remote monitoring. But this is one of the benefits of the remote monitoring system. You can take proactive action. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Evet Devrim, teşekkürler.
Yes, thank you very much. Now, Mr. Taner mentioned the importance of planning and the relationship with nature. And Mr. Devrim talked about the safety of life and the security of your belongings, because they are built in remote locations, and so they are not being inspected properly, and particularly the turbine installation and transportation companies have to exercise maximum care, and the ones who suffer the most is the transportation and the installation legs. And we have someone from the transportation side, Mr. Saadettin Özkan from Hareket Heavy Lifting and Project Transportation Company. He was born in Kayseri in 1951. He worked for the state for many years, and after having retired in the year 2001, since 2003 he started working for Hareket Nakliyat, and right now he is the regional manager in charge of Ankara. He is married and he has 2 children.
Teşekkür ederim Sayın Başkan.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I would like to start my words with the increased energy need of our country. In meeting the needs of our country, TWEC has organized this activity and has contributed to the current status of our country. That's why I think they deserve a big congratulations. That's why I would like to thank on behalf of myself to TWEC organizers, and I would like to welcome and salute you with all my respect.
Takvimimi bu başlıklar altında size sunmaya çalışacağım.
This is my agenda, and you will see some topics. I will be very brief and short in my presentation. There will be many images in my presentation. I will support certain visual aids to my presentation, and I will try to obey the time limitations. You can see these are the topics titles. We will be talking about these topics in detail. The first thing that I would like to emphasize is that BTG Wind Turbine Group's main parts in wind turbines, as you all know, they are high-tech products and are manufactured in foreign countries. However, they are placed in very high and remote mountains, so they have to be transported and they have to be lifted to these places. They have an extraordinary weight and height, and these loads with extraordinary sizes are ported in our country with a seashore port, and with appropriate vehicles they are transported to the areas of wind turbine settlement places. They are disloaded from these vehicles and they are installed here. So there is the zero failure principle in transportation. When we look at the dimension, sizes and weights of the turbine parts, you can see there are 3-4 parts of the tower. Three parts of the tower, but right now the tower sizes has increased up to 4 because the weight and height became different. You can see nacelle, hub and wings. So there are almost 10 different major components. If you have 10 turbines, it means that you do have 100 major components and heavy components. I would like to take your attention to here. You can see this is shown 39 meters, but right now the wings has exceeded 50 meters in length. When you transport this kind of loads from the motorways, of course, without trying to give any harm to this equipment, requires huge experience and good planning. In this part of my presentation, I will try to give certain information of our company's projects until today, because it is seen very important. Today in our country we do have 2,000 megawatt installed power. Transportation and installation of this installed power was helped and supported by Harekat as our company. And this is a big, significant experience, and we cannot disregard this. You can see these are ongoing projects. Transportation within country, transportation from port to the area, then the erection, which is the lifting with the cranes and installation, and finally installation of the electrical and mechanical connections of these equipments and delivering these equipments as ready to the investors or the customer. These are our contributions. The thing that I also would like to touch upon here in this sector in Turkey, as supplier, we are sharing our places with Nordex, Gamex, Vestas, Jamaica. You can see all these suppliers. We have worked with them. They have certain projects within country. As I have mentioned before, as a transportation, crane services and electrical and technical installation within these scopes, we have contributed to their activities. These issues that I mentioned shows our experiences in this issue. If there are some incomplete parts, in the Q&A session I will try to complete the missing points. Of course, a good planning is a prerequisite. You have to make a good planning and preparation phase. On an agreement with a contractor, we are doing a research and study. This study has certain phases, planning and preparation phases. Then there's maritime transportation. It will come from other countries to our port. So it means that more than once there are different ship transportation. There are different producers in our country. They produce towers, and blades, but generally the wings come from different countries. And simultaneously, we do this load and transportation and installation. When we look at this kind of a project closely, the supplier will say which port should be used in that scope. They can ask this question. You can see port selection is very important. Port selection is important because there should be a necessity place for stocking, and there should be certain margins for entrances and exits for this loading activities, and it should have connectivity or vicinity to the area, to the site, because no one wants to exceed the time during the transportation. In that regard, there is a road from port to the site. There may be some need for a stocking area, because it is not every time possible to go to the installation directly from the port. There is a determined road, and it should be studied and analyzed very well. When it is necessary, there should be certain improvements and enhancements. Of course, these things should be transported with appropriate vehicles. This vehicle should be determined in this stage. There are certain enhancements in the road. You can see this is the part of a blade, and this blade is transported through a village. You can see electricity cables above, and it is very proximal to the vehicle, so you have to be away from that cable and transport equipments like this. There are certain enhancements, improvements, fillings, or expanding the size of the road. There could be a certain bypass road construction and supporting the bridge when it's necessary. We are talking about this support. About the transportation, marine transportation, these parts are important from import country with the appropriate conditions. As I have mentioned before, the sizes of the blades can increase up to 50 meters. These ships may have their own cranes, but even if they do not have their own cranes, with the mobile cranes, we can get close to the ship and we can disload the equipments. The equipments that we have disloaded should go to the customs, and after the custom transactions, they should be reloaded again. We should remember this. These long parts, even if they seem not very heavy, let's say a weight of a blade is 10 tons, you have to use 2 cranes, and it means that there will be various number of cranes during the loading and disloading phases. After custom transactions, from the control of the load, we can talk about preliminary stages of disloading. There could be certain problems during the disloading. There are some harms to the crane or port, and the responsible of this harms should be determined, should be known. Loading to the vehicles on the port. permits for the road should be provided from the General Director of Motorways, and with the company of escorts. During the installation, the transportation should be done in due diligence as well. You can see this is the part of a blade of a tower. You can see this is the placement. The weight of the tower is approximately 50 tons, and the larger part is about 4.5 meters. When you see something like this, of course, normal drivers naturally feel scared a little bit, but we are talking about a very crucial activity. These transportation activities are done through the state motorways that normal citizens use while they drive. And there should be accompanying vehicles. And civil traffic harm should be minimized. For that reason, duration of the transportation should be subjected to flexibilities. You can see this is a nacelle placement to the vehicle, and you can see blade placement to the vehicle. It is 44 meters in length. This is also extended trailer. Transportation on the pace of installation, or this load should be done on the pace of transportation. You should not wait the vehicles in an empty shape. These vehicles should not wait for the installation phases. Mr. Speaker has mentioned our country is exposed to seasonality, so because of the seasonality effects, you cannot work every time. When there is wind, when you disload equipment from the vehicles, you have to calculate the wind pace or speed. The speed of the wind should be a certain level, because if it is more than a certain speed, you may not disload this equipment. Actually, the contractor is not giving the permit for you to disload this equipment. So I will make a summary with regards to first session. Then I will talk about installation. We have mentioned certain challenges, the sizes of the loads and the distance between port and site. As I said before, the load, security and people security and safety should be provided. We should not crash or hit the obstacles or some barriers. We should not harm our equipments. As we all know, the site ground should be analyzed because it is in close interaction with natural conditions, especially when the heavy parts are on transportation. The loose surface roads create big challenges.
Montaj işlemi
In the case of installation, with the support of an adequate and suitable engineering support, if that support is not available, it is not acceptable not to be able to lift a main component and place it, and that requires an engineering support, and the erection works need to be under the supervision of the manufacturer at all times. And this consists of a main crane, a set of cranes with the help of main crane and auxiliary cranes, and finally correct planning and coordination is necessary, and the good time windows and slots need to be found. Let me wrap it up. a crane set of at least 2 cranes. And the challenges encountered are always adverse weather conditions because you install turbines where there is a wind, and we are not allowed, as per the worker safety and work health regulations, to work under very windy conditions. We talked about the ground hardness, and when moving from one tower to another, the road width is of special importance, and you're lifting a nacelle of 186 tons for 102 meters. So this is displayed in another way. Here on the screen, we are seeing this slide again, and the reason why we are seeing this slide again is as per the World Health, Security and Environment rules, because it is very important. In the past, okay, we did have those regulations as well, but they were not of that significance. But right now they are very important, and we need to comply with those rules and regulations, and which requires a significant investment, both in terms of labor and also for material and equipment, PPE for personal protection equipment for employees, and all the work safety and health and environment rules and regulations must be complied with. This is a challenging task, but it is possible to overcome these. There are certain solutions, and with a proper planning and preparation, and this can be overcome. These difficulties can be overcome with adequate consultancy services. And Hareket Project Transportation and Engineering is proud to be offering support for investors. Here, I don't know if we run out of time. These are the photographs. This is the transportation story from A to Z. You can see on the screen. Am I subject to a fine if I'm late? You cannot receive questions is all. And this is okay. Then I made a summary of the photographs based on your request. Okay. Thank you very much for listening to me patiently.
Ve Saadettin Bey çok teşekkürler.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saadettin Özkan. And now we are going to be listening to Mr. Ali Sarıgöz. He is the Technical Engineering Solutions. He's the CEO of Technical Engineering Solution Limited. We were actually colleagues in the past, and he was the general manager of Vestas GM, and it was very happy for me to see a Turkish colleague leading the Greek operations. And he was first the project manager, and then the head of the project department, and then the general manager for 7 years in Vestas Greece. Then he worked for a different company, after which he built his own company, and now he operates in the transportation and logistics services of turbine equipment.
Misafirler, hoş geldiniz.
Welcome, dear guests. As Tess, TES, and as Ali Sarıgöz, myself, let me talk to you about the installation and construction projects. The other speakers talked about the talked about certain subjects, and the most important topic is planning, and we give this service for 3 years. And what we have observed is lack of planning. This needs to project planning needs to start from the license stage, and because this is not done in Turkey, the problems faced in the course of projects increase the costs. My company TES offers services to all wind power manufacturers, and we also give engineering services. In projects, what matters most is prior to obtaining your licenses, you need to be more in touch with what the others talked about. You have to make a ground study, and you have to choose how the turbine will be built. So, and after you do that, the entire process will proceed more favorably, because there will not be any halts. Because if you encounter any halts or pauses, this is an additional burden and cost for you. For instance, I know an example where there is no planning, no measurement, and when turbines are brought on site, because of the weather conditions or because of bad design, turbines can be waiting for a year or two, or they may be incomplete licenses. Let's say if you have 50 millions of investment, there are the interest expenses, there are the waiting expenses, and your daily generation losses can be very high. So since the beginning of the project, what we recommend the investors is choose your turbine and then start getting your consultancy services, so that with the tech you need to make the ground study and the technical study. You need to finalize the crane pad and the ground studies and the route studies, so that this will always have positive returns to you. Mr. Taner talked about it, the Hareket company, Mr. Saadettin Özkan talked about it, and also the season when the project will be built is important. If you do it when it is windy, you will be waiting a lot every day. And then this is reflected on daily cost. Keeping all equipment there costs you 10 or 15,000 euros. But if you plan it properly since the beginning, then you will have better returns as investors. And as the TES Limited, we are doing our 8th project.
Vermiş olduğu hizmetle aynı.
And the transportation and crane services, installation equipment, and we give the same services to regional companies as well. We didn't prepare a presentation today, but what I wanted to tell is Hareket took our time, but they will pay what it is due for them, and I will cut it short.
Ali Bey çok teşekkürler.
Thank you so much. No, you didn't take very long time. 1 or 2 minutes is nothing actually. Last but not least, one of the most important representatives of installed power in Turkey, I would like to invite Mr. Halil Turutürk from Enercon Service Company. He is the general manager. He was born in 1970 in Istanbul. He graduated from Istanbul Technical University, and in 1996 he completed his master degree in Nottingham University, and he worked in Shout Systems in Enercon Company, and then he entered into Enercon Company. Since 1998 he has been working in Enercon Company, and now for the last 2 years he has been the general manager of that company. I had tried to prepare a short presentation. That's why I show the picture. As an Erkan Service Turkey, I would like to give certain information about our structuring. And then I will talk about our general scope, installation, electrical and mechanical installation, and then I will tell you about our service activities. There are two different topics, and I will try to give information about these two topics. Enercon was founded in 1984, and our service network was settled in Germany in 1993. In Turkey, it was first established in 1998 in Çeşme. In 1999, Enercon Services Turkey was founded, and between this 1998 and 1999, I started to work in Enercon, and Maria project, which is a project of Demirel Group, our installation team has been founded, so we have started to work with our own installation team. With certain challenges, we have come up to this day. So this is the organization chart of our service company. If I wanted to show this whole world to you as a whole structure, because the structure of Enercon has shown us this. Enercon, the big Enercon company, is the head company, and we are the extension of the company in Turkey. We have different organizations, different activities, or different experiences here. However, we do have approximately 5,500 experienced employees within the worldwide, and only in Aegean and Mediterranean region countries we can see we are having 200 employees. In the structure of European countries, we have 20 service companies and 174 service mechanisms. In Turkey, when we look at the wind projects, we can see the biggest orientation is done in Aegean region. Investors prefer Aegean region. Izmir is the main office, and CRM office is located in Istanbul. We have 8 service regions. So we are trying to provide services for our customers in these 8 service regions. As I have mentioned previously, the first most comprehensible thing that we do is installation. Installation is done by different units of Enercon. Project management and transportation department is done with these 2 parts with the support of sales department. So the area is commissioned. There are certain standards with regards to roads, the dimensions of the diameters of roads and the lengths, widths of the roads, the structure of the road, everything is done for the preparation of the road. You can see this is the first opening of the road, and then you can see this is the coating of the road, and then the completion of the road. Road is very important, as you may all know, both inside the city and across the country. All the roads are really important for your transportation because these roads are very heavy and very long. As Mr. Ali has mentioned, we should be very sensitive. In order to eliminate all the problems, you should be very sensitive and careful about all of your transportation activities. You can see there are certain foundation works. Enercon wants to release all the works in its all quality. All the technical details and the design and the manufacturing is directed by Enercon itself. You can see there are certain images for foundation. You can see this foundation is opened here. The pipes are mounted here, and the concrete cement layer is put on this foundation, and the heavy part is steel part is placed here, and the concrete part is located at the center. You can see this foundation is prepared like this. Drainage channels are put there. There are certain works in order to provide the isolation. You can see our road is ready, our foundation is ready, and Later on, with this length, with this high tonnage, in order to transport and lift these heavy materials, there are certain cranes, as you all know, and you need to work with these cranes in a secure manner. And there are crane areas, crane sites. Within these crane sites, even in the smallest changes in the crane functions, there could be big harms. For that reason, depending on the type and the size of the crane, there are different standards and criteria. You can see there are special crane sites on the roads. We have our sites for the crane. Another important phase of our project is the transportation start. You can see this is a national and international transportation. Another important equipment is, we know that crane is very important. Crane is like the everything of the installation team. It directs all the functions and works of the installation team. For that reason, tonnage and the selection of the crane is having big importance. After we selected the crane, we start to make the installation. In installation, there are different parts, the blades and power cabins, and you can see we are settling the tower here. Sometimes the towers could be steel. In some projects, this tower can be designed in concrete. You can see when you make concrete tower sections, you need to make the installation with 100 tons of these towers. You can see installations of the blades. The blades are installed to the hub. They are lifted, as you can see, they are escalated here with the crane, and turbine is completed here. This Enercon service is first example of the installation completion. Electronical installation has been completed and turbine was commissioned. After this, transactions are completed within the framework of agreements with our investors. In Enercon, you can see there is an EPK long-term warranty and maintenance service agreement. It can be available for up to 15 years, and availability is 95%. So we start to work with our investors. After this agreement, in the regions, we create service networks. In the procurement area, a technical staff, and electrical engineer and mechanical engineer is delegated to these places, and they should be available in the turbines because they are to be ready in the sites. They have to be very speed in terms of installation and maintenance the works. We provide all these works within our own quality standards. For that reason, there is a need for a good coordination and organization. It shows us that all the technical and administrative parts, there are also some support teams, generator, maintenance team, training teams, and tower teams, and generator repair, blade inspection. You can see this organization should be very durable and strong. You have to create this kind of a network. In order to provide this, we chose Izmir because it's a dominant place. We do have a main store in Izmir, and we use it as a main store. It is a very important criteria for our customers because the spare parts stocks should be sufficient and they are eligible when they're accessible when you want. From main store, from Izmir, we can have access. In every region, there are different stores. We locate the stores in the proximity of the wind turbines. We are trying to increase the space. In respect of our customers or investors, high response time. We can have access to the turbines in a very fast manner. And this points can be controlled very well by our center. Response time, you can see this is the graph that shows the accessibility speed of our company to the turbines in the winter time. When turbines are also accessible, of course, maintenance duration is very important for investors. This maintenance duration should not be very long. It is very important because we have to be available. Availability should be high. We do have 4 main criteria: visual maintenance, collision maintenance, mechanical maintenance, and electrical maintenance. And these maintenance types, we do have one team and we work in a quarterly period. Times. For our investors, as we all know, reporting is very important because the right information should be submitted to them. This is very critical and important fact for them. Our investors are paying credits. They need to know whether they get the right information. For that reason, we do have a Scala system for the data. It shows all the time what we are doing. This is a portal system that shows what our activities to the investors. High availability and the strong storage capacity of spare parts, all these factors directly affect the availability portion, availability ratio. When we look at 2001, and from 2001 to 2011, we can see availability ratio is 97%. Besides this 97% warranty, in the worldwide, Entercon can reach more than 97%. As Entercon Turkey, we do have great experience and we're trying to escalate this number into higher numbers. I would like to give this example from this plant. One of the oldest ones is located in Bozcaada. Bozcaada wind plant has been in operation since 2001, and availability ratio in the year 2001 was 92, but normally it is between 97 and 98%. As the time goes by, you can see the quality of the turbines and the services can increase. Of course, our objective is to make our customers and investors happier. Return on their own investment should be fast. This is our objective. Our center, located in Germany, and our office in Turkey is trying to provide this. Until now, as far as we can see, we do have many happy customers. Questions? Do you have any questions? I think I can get your questions in the Q&A session. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Evet, Halil Bey.
We would like to thank Mr. Halil Duru Türk for the strong visual aspect of his presentation, and the photographs were taken under good conditions, so we do not see the adverse weather condition photographs, so we forget them. Yeah, we do work under very difficult conditions at transportation stage, at construction stage. When you look at the other plants, maybe hydroelectricity plants, okay, they are also troublesome projects because of but you cannot compare it with the natural gas or hydroelectricity plants. They are not as scattered. We had started 10 minutes late, so we are going to steal 10 or 15 minutes from the coffee break because at the operation stage and at the construction stage, and there are certain things that are not discussed yet, and the delivery companies, okay, they can do it as turnkey delivery, but like you know, everything that is newly constructed, they always discuss whether they should give it as turnkey delivery or give it on a piecemeal basis. So after the first plant is completed and delivering the second, this equation of a higher importance. And even though the 2,000 megawatts have been commissioned, the sector is quite young and the learning curve is on the rise for the investors. But we know that both on the transportation and on the installation side, investors also need to take into account certain risks, and they can do certain things in-house. And this is an important decision point, and there might be related questions, and also there are certain civil works not discussed yet, and an important leg of this is the switchgear plant, and the burden of this is also on the investor, even though TEİAŞ has the responsibility, but then there are the expropriation, etc. problems. And because you cannot connect the line, because the citizens do not allow you, your investment needs to wait there on hold. So due to these weather conditions, you have to wait. As an employer of an international company, thank God you also generate business for us, because some of the things the investors want to take included in the package, but a healthy preliminary packaging and advisory services are of significant importance.
Soru soracak kişiler önce kendilerini ve kurumlarını tanıtırlarsa ondan sonra soruyu
Please first mention your name and the party who you're addressing your question to.
ve daha mı baskın?
So the coffee is more dominant. So everyone learned and there is nothing else to learn.
Peki o zaman katılımınız için hepinize çok
Thank you for your attendance and for this nice organization.